Woman of the Hour is a Netflix crime thriller directed by Anna Kendrick in her directorial debut and written by Ian MacDonald. It is based on the true story of serial killer Rodney Alcala and his 1978 appearance on the television show The Dating Game in the midst of his murder spree. The film stars Kendrick as a down-on-her-luck aspiring actress who appears on the game show as a contestant. Daniel Zavato stars alongside her as Alcala. At the time of the show, Alcala had murdered at least 5 women, and his appearance on the episode later earned him the nickname The Dating Game Killer. This review will be spoiler-free. I'm not surprised that Netflix would greenlight this film after the success of their Ted Bundy documentary and their Jeffrey Dahmer series. However, this film has absolutely nothing to say about its subject or to add to the genre. The 1970s is an era that has been explored in abundance when it comes to horror and crime, and it can be a great time period to utilize, but this felt like a heavily watered down version of things that I've seen before. You never get a sense for the true brutality of Alcala. I understand that he is supposed to appear charming, which makes him easily deceiving. We've seen that many times over. But I was legitimately surprised when I read what he had done in the generic and assumed obligatory text at the end of the film. I shouldn't be surprised, that's not really a good thing. It is not as if I like this guy as a character, but the film wasn't effective in how it portrayed him. It never made you feel. I should have been physically disgusted by this guy before being told what he did at the end of the film. But I was indifferent because the film felt so generic. When you're dealing with such a serious real-life story, it needs to be treated with more gravity. This is the epitome of a streaming movie. I was interested in how Anna Kendrick would serve as a director, and I take no pleasure in saying that while she is able to string together a coherent narrative, there is no style or depth here. The cinematography is bland, the colours are flat, and the direction of many sequences pedestrian. She also gives a relatively standard performance, not the best I've seen from her. Her character is never fleshed out beyond being a struggling actress that doesn't date. I didn't hate my time watching the film as it moves at a pretty decent pace, but it doesn't impact you and it doesn't do anything new. In fact, it feels like it downplays its subject matter. You forget about the film pretty quickly after finishing it. It seems like there is an attempt to humanize Alcala, but it doesn't really work. However unpleasant, these kinds of films need to truly convey the horror of these events. They need to make you feel so much empathy that you don't stop thinking about the film for days. You feel sad for the people involved, you feel sad for the world that we live in, and you wonder how you would deal with situations like that, whether it was you or a loved one involved. These films need to feel grimy and visceral, especially when set in the 70s. They shouldn't feel like cookie-cutter streaming fodder. Daniel Zavato tries, but I wasn't scared or even creeped out by his performance. All of this comes down to the writing and directing. It isn't the fault of the actor. He does a decent job. The best sequences in the film are far and away the sequences on the dating show. That was the only time that you got a feel for Kendrick's character, a feel that she had some drive, a spark, a personality. She was witty and displayed the kind of maverick behavior that helps you to root for her. Those sequences were fun because of her. You didn't really know what was going to happen. There is a character in the audience of The Dating Game who attempts to contact the police after recognizing Alcala. It is hard to get invested in this subplot, however true it might ring, because police ignoring a woman in need has become so cliché in these kinds of films. I have nothing more to say about this one. It was bland and generic, especially if you're a fan of horror or true crime. You've seen this all before and you've seen it done better. The film is competently structured. It makes sense enough for you to not loathe the experience of watching it if you keep expectations low, but if you're looking for something that feels real and hits hard, you won't find that here. The title has a decent double meaning. Hollywood puts out a lot of films these days with really dull titles, so I'll give it that. If you want to watch true crime or horror that feels like a low-budget TV drama and that doesn't upset you, then go for it, I guess. Otherwise, I would skip this one.